International partners, you are a pillar in our development drive. We are and will always be appreciative of your continued support to the Ministry of National Defense and the Armed Forces of Liberia. Special thanks to the U.S. government, India, China, Egypt, Nigeria, and Ghana. On behalf of the Chief of Staff and the men and women in arms, I would like to express my highest level of gratitude to the legislative branch, especially both houses committees on defense, security, intelligence, and veterans affairs, for your oversight and guardians which continue to portray the armed forces of Liberia as a force for good. I also extend my deep appreciation to the founding members of these brave men and women. Your enormous sacrifices are immeasurable and serve as a foundation upon which our military has survived over the years. Bravo to you all. As we draw closer and closer to the general and presidential elections come October 10th, the armed forces of Liberia will remain apolitical. In this vein, I want to admonish every political actor, irrespective of your political affiliation, to remain peaceful and civil during this heated process. We encourage you to pursue your dreams of becoming whatever you want. But the sad reality is that your dreams, ego, and aspirations will more often than not fall short of the collective will of the electorates. Our passionate plea will be, don't dare cross that democratic red line beyond the collective will of the people in your dream fall short. We will stand by the express will of the people in line with the Constitution of Liberia. Finally, to the men and women in arms, as we honor you today, we extend our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to you for your loyalty, dedication, sacrifice, patriotism in ensuring the safety of our nation and its people. Remain focused on the mission, remain apolitical, demonstrate supreme gallantry and professionalism through affirming your loyalty and service to the state as your patriotic obligation and constitutional responsibility in defending and preserving our common patrimony. Continue to be the standard bearer of the security sector and remain a force for good. Happy Armed Forces Day. I thank you.
The Minister of Defense, former Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, retired Brigadier General Daniel Senya. So President George Weah will take the podium. He's the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia. My name is Rugon Khan. We are here at the
Mother of the Nation, Her Excellency, Madam Clara Weah, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Associate Justice, and other members of the judiciary.
It's
His Honor,
to introduce President
the Speaker,
Commander-in-Chief,
the Pro Tempore, the two chairs on national defense, and other members of the national legislature, Minister of Defense and other ministers of the cabinet, the doyen and members of the diplomatic corps, our keynote speaker, and other members of our sister state represented here, Major General Prince T. Johnson, the TAIR, and members of the AFL, other members of our national security apparatus, members and family of our guardian men and women, other government officials, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. At this time, it is my honor to invite the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency, Dr. George Weah, who will speak to this meeting.
You may have your seat. Madam Weah, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Mr. Speaker, President pro tempore, and members of the 54th legislature here present, members of the judiciary, the dean and members of the cabinet and other government officials here present, our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Strider, the Joint Excellency and members of the diplomatic and consular corps, Mr. Chief of Staff and the gallant men and women of the armed forces of Liberia, former officials of government, their present traditional leaders, chiefs and elders, political and business leaders, religious leaders, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by thanking the Almighty God for giving us the grace to be here today to commemorate the 66th Armed Forces Day, a day which has been set aside to honor the gallant men and women serving in the armed forces of Liberia. On this day, we also remember and pay homage to those who through their service in these armed forces have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation and its people. Today, we recognize and celebrate 66 years of the unflinching dedication of our dear armed forces of Liberia to the protection of this nation. It is indeed an honor to be the commander-in-chief of these great armed forces, and it is therefore both a pleasing duty and a proud privilege to celebrate with you all on this auspicious occasion in this capacity. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me now take the opportunity to thank this year's keynote speaker for the 66th Armed Forces Symposium in this persons of Ambassador Stephen Rodriguez, the United Nations Development Program resident representative to Liberia, for the splendid speech by him. Mr. Resident Representative of the UNDP will take due note of the recommendations and suggestions you have proffered in your address entitled Fostering Effective Stakeholders Engagement for Sustainable Democracy, which has given us much food for thoughts. Let me also take this time to appreciate this year's Distinguished Service Order DSO recipient in person of Colonel Washington Boyd, retired, and Lieutenant Colonel Nathaniel, now retired, who serve our country tirelessly as pilots in former armed forces of Liberia. I am made to understand that our guest speaker today, Major General Pablo Estrada, Commanding General of the 46th Military Police Command of the Michigan National Guard, also once served here in Liberia in 2010 with Operations Onward Liberty, in providing mentorship for the new armed forces of Liberia. Gracias, Commando. We want to welcome you back home to Liberia. Major General Estrada, bienvenido. Your leadership at the Michigan National Guard is gratefully acknowledged for the support and assistance you have given through mentorship and training, which have benefited our armed forces. On behalf of the government of Liberia, I would also like to express our gratitude to the government of the United States through the Office of Security Cooperation for its continued support of the AFL. The contributions of China, Bangladesh, and Egypt are also gratefully acknowledged. The government of Liberia is also grateful to the Republic of Ghana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone for contributing personnel to the ECOWAS advisory training team, which has been serving in an advisory capacity to the AFL, and also for offering training slot to the AFL. Your mentorship and support have contributed immensely to the restructuring and professional development of the armed forces of Liberia. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, each Armed Forces Day is celebrated to honor a team that is carefully choosing to serve as a path that harnesses efforts for the AFL future training needs and responsibility. This year's Armed Forces Day team, interagency collaboration, working together for peaceful elections, is particularly important as we get closer to the presidential and legislative election that are going to be held in October this year. Historically, the celebration of Armed Forces Day in Liberia is a long-time tradition that is borrowed from the United States of America. I have learned that in 1954, Colonel Francis M. Dean, the then Assistant Chief of Staff and Intelligence Officer of the Armed Forces of Liberia, using the United States concept, conceived that noble idea and recommended that a day be set aside yearly as Armed Forces Day to honor the members of the Armed Forces of Liberia. I am also told that the 11th of February in each year was then set aside by an act of the Liberian legislature to be observed as Armed Forces Day in recognition of the bravery and sacrifice of troops of the Armed Forces of Liberia who had ended the mutiny that took place on February 11, 1909. Since that time, our dear nation has been through a lot of struggle. But time after time, we have come out stronger, better and more determined to create a better Liberia. We therefore use this day to champion and honor the past and present members of the Armed Forces of Liberia, because there cannot be a strong democracy without a professional military. As Commander-in-Chief, I have implicit confidence in the ability of our troops and security forces to effectively execute their duties. I have progressively monitored the achievement of the Armed Forces of Liberia, and I have no doubt that it is on the right path to greatness, both locally and in the international community. There are unique capacities that the AFL can bring in supporting civil authority, particularly in our development efforts. As a nation, first and foremost, we must continue to strengthen our border control mechanism and remain vigilant against the negatives that could affect the peace and stability of our nations and our people. Similarly, we must not waver to protect ourselves against extremism and the consequences of terrorism. Accordingly, we must be better informed and ensure effective coordination and preparedness between among our military and civilian laws enforcement agency against any action that could affect our peace, security, and stability. Today, Our flag is being carried proudly by our soldiers in the troubled regions of Timbuktu, the Republic of Mali, the Republic of Sudan, and the Republic of South Sudan. Other countries where our troops are making contributions to peacekeeping include the Republic of Guinea-Bissau and the Democratic Republic of Congo. These are all very volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous missions. Our hearts go out to them, and we look forward to proudly receiving them safely back home at the end of their missions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me thank Major General Daniel Zianga, the Minister of National Defense, and his able team for the excellent leadership they have manifested in making our armed forces a force for good. The diligence and dedication in transforming our military have earned you credibility and respectability both at home and abroad. In the same vein, let me thank you, Major General Prince C. Johnson III, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, for your outstanding leadership and sense of discipline and direction that has engendered the confidence of the Liberian people. Congratulations. I know how important the family is to the men and women who serve our country. I want to personally thank all of our military families, husbands, wives, children, and extended family for their continued support, which positively impacts the performance of our troops. I wish to thank all members of the Armed Forces of Liberia, the Force for Good, for your discipline, dedication to duty, and commitment to the responsibility of protecting our territorial integrity, and for the gallantry exhibited by you in executing your mission and tasks wherever you are deployed. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to mention the recruitment drive for new members to join the armed forces, which began in 2022. This is ongoing with 2,335 successful applicants from the 5 regions. The first batch of recruit and officer cadets training began in October last year at the Armed Forces Training Command, comprising 176 recruits and 24 officers. The first batch graduated from the initial entry training in December of last year, and they completed the advanced individual training at the end of last month at the Berkeley Training Center. Significantly, we have involved the armed forces in infrastructural development in the country to ensure its contribution, its culture to meeting the needs of Liberians, even while conducting its security operations. I must say that the armed forces have lived up to this opportunity and has been instrumental to numerous infrastructure development efforts of the government so far. The engineer company has been actively involved in the construction and reconditioning of feeder roads and bridges, as well as pedestrian walkways in some towns and villages of our country. These projects are well structured and up to international standard. Also significant was the medical outreach offered to the Liberian people by the armed forces in Po River, and the cleanup campaign undertaken by the armed forces personnel in Duboro community as part of the Armed Forces Day celebration. For these few reasons, fellow Liberians, we should count ourselves lucky for having such a result-oriented armed forces that you so much, our heroes. Government is aware that all these achievements have occurred even with the numerous challenges faced by the armed forces, including inadequate funding, a lack of manpower, inadequate accommodation for personnel, and insufficient codified policies for administering military justice. However, let me assure you that my administration is making concerted efforts to address these challenges. For example, just recently I approved the court-martial regulations for the armed forces, which will greatly assist the administration of military justice in Liberia. The such regulation will come on board in the coming days. Similarly, as we strive to meet the logistic needs, to meet our training needs by building more capacity for the armed forces training institutions. In this regard, the Armed Forces of Liberia is in the process of establishing its non-commissioned officers academy at the Armed Forces Training at Camp Weah. This academy will not only increase our one block of 5 apartments at the forward operating base, Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. The construction works for these apartments are currently ongoing and are being complemented by the Liberian Agency for Community Empowerment. And being constructed by Building Materials Center Incorporated. 2 blocks of 5 apartments each are expected to be constructed in the vicinity of the 14 military hospitals to serve as accommodation for doctors. Furthermore, I am pleased to say here today that the officers of the armed forces have ably served their country and humanity. I therefore ask all Liberians to join me in thanking the Chief of Staff, Major General Prince C. Johnson III, his predecessor, Honorable Minister of National Defense, Major General Daniel D. Zianga, and the entire officer corps for ably steering the affairs of the armed forces of Liberia. Your exemplary leadership of the armed forces of Liberia is well appreciated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, despite the challenges in the growth process, policy to support the armed forces to grow in strength and might. We will continue to look into the future with a new hope and aspiration as we expand our efforts. We understand that there will be challenges in the performance of our duties. However, we ask all Liberians to continuously see the armed forces as the true representatives and believe that our intentions were for the future benefit of our citizens. The investment we have made in the military and in our security sector with the strong support of our partner have given all of us the reassurance of a safe and secure society as we come closer to the general and presidential elections that will take place this year. To the members of the National Legislature, we also extend our deep appreciation for upholding your constitutional mandates in supporting the armed time. I commend the Defense Committee in both the House of Representatives and the House of Senate. Thank you for your support to the armed forces of Liberia in many forms. As a responsive government. We will continue to work with you to ensure the best for our armed forces. My fellow Liberians, please be seated. The commander of troops will now request permission from the commander-in-chief to pass the troops in review. The commander of troops for today's parade is Major Ernest A.L. Appleton, Commander, 1st Battalion, 23rd Infantry Brigade, Armed Forces of Liberia.
You dress me up. You come in there again, my man. No, man. You two with me to the same place. Brazil. I just want you to dress me up. Excuse me.
Please be seated.
Weah will review the troops here this morning at the Barclay Training Center after giving his
The Commander-in-Chief has given the permission to the Commander of Troops to pass the troops in review.
I will say that. He was telling it. I do.
The commander of troops for today's parade is Major Ernest A.L. Appleton, the commander, 1st Battalion, 23rd Infantry Brigade, Armed Forces of Liberia.
So the revision of the troops will soon start. The president will review the troops, the joint security, the armed forces of Liberia, the Liberian Coast Guard, the Liberian National Police, Liberia.
Today's parade
National
is
Fire
being
Service.
executed by the Armed Forces of Liberia, the Liberian National Police, Liberia Immigration Service, Department of Customs, Liberia National Fire Service, Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency, Monrovia City Police, Liberia Seaport Police, Forest Park Rangers, National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority, and the Liberia Scout Association.
The marching has commenced. The President, Dr. George Weah, stands right there to review the troops.
Will render a hand salute to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia.
Will be done here. It's a wonderful, beautiful occasion here at the Barclay Training Center, where the Armed Forces of Liberia is celebrating its 66th anniversary since 1956.
The commander of troops for today's parade is Major Ernest A.L. Appleton, Commander, 1st Battalion, 23rd Infantry Brigade, Armed Forces of Liberia. Members of his staff include the adjutant. The adjutant for today's parade is Captain Aloysius Weah. Other members include Captain Zeke Menza, Captain Abraham Kamara, Lieutenant Samolu, First Lieutenant Clift Moulton, and the Sergeant Major is Sergeant Major Akate Kwisi.
You gotta do it by small.
You can come back in small.
The
See the president.
Recording.
is under the direction of Warrant Officer Garland Merchant. A beautiful display by the Armed Forces of Liberia Band has been done by Warrant Officer Garland Merchant. The Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, is commanded by 1st Lieutenant James K. Corona Jr. His guidance bearer is Sergeant Bani and family. And the 1st Sergeant is 1st Sergeant Lawrence Dennis. Bravo Company, 1st Battalion, is commanded by 1st Lieutenant Jeff Kompu Weah. His guidance bearer is Sergeant Musa Keita. And the 1st Sergeant is 1st Sergeant Jefferson Barkley. Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, is commanded by 1st Lieutenant Brown Blamo Melvin. His guidance bearer is Sergeant Jonathan Jackson. And the 1st Sergeant is 1st Sergeant Emmanuel Bryant. 2nd Infantry Battalion is commanded by Captain Alvin Tobacco. Members of the staff include 1st Sergeant Ruben Keats, 1st Lieutenant Ruben Keats, 1st Lieutenant Ansu Sharif, 1st Lieutenant Memphis Smallwood. Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion is commanded by 1st Lieutenant Abraham Hodges. Guidance bearer is Private 1st Class Teddy Bala. And the 1st Sergeant is 1st Sergeant Benedict Ajivon. Bravo Company, 2nd Battalion is commanded by 1st Lieutenant Patrick Bolo Topa. Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion is commanded by 1st Lieutenant Abraham M. His guidance bearer is Sergeant Obadiah O.S. Jabu. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the passing of the colors.
The passing of the colors. the national flag of the Republic.
The Armed Forces Unit Command is commanded by First Lieutenant Emmanuel Weah Molba. Guidance bearer is Private First Class Peter Yeji.
All the flags falling like a period. Flag is up. National flag.
The Adjacent Command is commanded by First Lieutenant Jeremiah Y. Wallace. Commanding the Medical Command is Second Lieutenant Samson Paul. Guidance bearer is Corporal Wendling Blade. Commanding the Liberian Coast Guard is Lieutenant Dixie Agbo. Guidance bearer is PO2 Atipor Peters. And the Command Sergeant Major
National Coast Guard
is Siki Sylvester T.
Liberia National Police moves gently.
Commanding the paramilitary staff is Chief Inspector Princess D. Pavon of the Liberia National Police. The Liberia National Police is commanded by Inspector Daniel Lee S. Padel.
Liberia National Police paramilitary
Let's bring to memory the days of the United Nations.
wonderfully.
Liberia Immigration Service is commanded by Captain Bernice Williams.
Liberia Immigration Service.
Our people on top of the game. Right here, left, right, the white clouds.
Commanding Department of Customs is Officer Sam S. Popo. Liberia National Fire Service is commanded by Major Godmercy Too. The flag bearer is Emmanuel Parker.
Liberia National Fire Service.
The Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency is commanded by Special Agent Lawrence Lehman. The flag bearer is Agent Vicky B. Tyler.
Flag bearer. Liberia.
The Monrovia City
Drug
Police
Enforcement Agency.
is commanded by Lieutenant
Boys
Dave
from
B. Davis. Flag bearer is Sergeant Luther Parker.
City government.
The Liberia Seaport Police is commanded by Lieutenant Vanny Sen. The flag bearer is Lieutenant Nathaniel Too.
Liberia Seaport
The
Police.
Park Rangers of the Forestry Development Authority
The Green
is
Man.
commanded by Captain
Green
L.
Man.
Amara
Right
Konoa.
here.
The guidance bearer is Officer Sando T. Bapa. Commanding the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority is Inspector Foye J. Kalon. The flag bearer is Inspector Kadri B. Myers. The Liberia Scout Association is commanded by Commissioner Henry G. Wasi.
Smaller soldier is coming. You have to salute. military truck.
That is the Cougar Armored Personnel Carrier. Cougar Armored Personnel Carrier
Wonderful display.
is commanded by Captain Barney Connor.
Wonderful display. The armed forces of Liberia. Equipment. Military strength. Yeah. This is it. So the army is saying this is the radio personnel. Then not cross the red line with the armed forces of Liberia. Equipped, prepared, and have the military strength to take who be troublemakers down. Liberian Coast Guard.
Liberian Coast Guard.
Wonderful display of the readiness of the armed forces of Liberia. President George Weah will retire. The revision of the troops. So it's a wonderful display here. That's how we climatize this program. The 66th Armed Forces Day celebration here in Central Monrovia at the Barclay.
This concludes today's parade ceremony. Please remain in the stand until the official party departs. On behalf
Thanks for watching, for following Spoon TV. This is how we come to the end of today's occasion. My name is Shokon Flama. We're bringing you update from the Barclay Training Center in Central Monrovia, where the Armed Forces of Liberia has been
Charles Johnson III. Thank you for
commemorating its 66th Armed Forces Day activities here. The motorcade of the President moves directly.
Along with me has been a non-commissioned officer.
So the troops, paramilitary officers, as you can see them well in their battalion. The troops will go for the parade.
Please remain in the stand until the official party departs.
Role of watching, sharing Spoon TV. My name is Shokon Flama. The Armed Forces of Liberia formerly of the Frontier Force, founded in 1908 to protect the citizenry, or later changed to the Armed Forces of Liberia in 1956. Since then, the Armed Forces of Liberia experienced serious setback during the 14 years of bloody civil war in the country. And after the civil war, former President Ellen Johnson solely took the helm of power in the democratic election held in 2005. She recruited new members of the AFL and disbanded those who were there prior and during the war. Today, Liberia has a new army, well equipped. So, folks, thank you so much. President Weah will disengage this ceremony. He and his beautiful wife, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Madam Weah, and also Minister of National Defense, retired Brigadier General Daniel Zianga,
Ladies and gentlemen,
accompanied by the
of Liberia,
Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia. Chief of Staff
First Lady
will
of the Republic of Liberia will now
move on,
depart.
retire.
Please remain in the stand until the Commander-in-Chief
Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, His Excellency Captain George Weah, is retiring this ceremony.